Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of the Vibe with Humanity podcast. I'm your host, Trevor. The purpose of this podcast is to give everyday people a platform to come on and tell their incredible stories. Everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has something to teach everyone else in their own way. I'm hoping this podcast will inspire you to go out, mingle with people, hear their stories, and learn from them. Engage strangers, chat up your Uber driver, ask the cashier clerk how their day is, and mean it. You'd be surprised how your life will change. We're going to start with a fire captain from Nevada County, California named David Coombe. He's got an amazing story to tell. I hope you guys enjoy it. Stay positive, be kind. Thank you for watching.
I think I take a lot of positives from little interactions. It's really like an 85, 90-year-old lady that lost her husband. As the conversation goes on, you can tell they just want to talk to somebody. We helped someone give birth on their kitchen floor. I see my firefighter walk out with a stuffed animal and they're talking to the kid and all of a sudden you're like, okay, people are good after all. It's just everything's better when you have a group of people that are pulling for each other. Nobody really preps you, I don't think, for children and what it does to your entire life.
Or could they?
I don't think they could. I think it's a big secret among people that have kids. Are you guys are gonna do awesome. Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. Yeah, and then you're like,
you're thinking I'm so sorry.
Yeah, nobody told me this was gonna be a lot harder than.
Wait, so there's no me for 20 years?
Yeah. Oh. Which is funny because I was talking to a guy at work last night and he's a younger guy, he's 23, 24. And he said something and I go, dude, it's not your fault. You just don't know until you know. And when you don't have kids, when I didn't have kids, I didn't realize how much harder people with kids were working on a daily basis to just maintain normal life, to maintain some level of sanity and
just treading.
Yeah, and so when newer guys will come into the department, I'll say, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing on your days off?" He's like, "I don't know. I think I might work out today." Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, you gonna golf after?
He goes, "What are you doing?" And I have the nenext 4 days by the 10-minute increment planned out based on kids' sports, what my wife wants me to do, when the pickup schedule is, and it's not like I'm doing something unique. I mean, every parent in the world has to do that, but until you just don't know. Mm-hmm. So when I'm talking to these guys and I look at them and I'm like, God, I can't wait to have kids. Mm-hmm. I cannot wait.
5 and 6 is when you start getting a little bit of yourself back. The thing that is, I think, the hardest, probably for dudes in general, at least for me, is the 1,000 little suffocating, frustrating things all day. Just hey, where's my thing? Oh, it's covered in grease. Or the TV remote, it's in the pool. There's just little things like that all day where you're just constantly stuffing them down. I think that's one of the tougher parts.
Yeah. And thank God for moms, because I don't really like to get on that over the top pro mom bandwagon. I think dads make a lot of sacrifices too, but I think when it comes down to it, when you look at real selflessness, it comes from the mom. And the dad has to kind of learn that as we go, as we fumble through life.
For sure.
And you have to learn how to be more selfless. And it's tough.
So how long did you just work?
I was just home for 2 days. Went in Saturday morning and then just got off this morning. So it's Monday morning. And then I go back I got mandatoried for a shift tomorrow on Halloween, which my kids and wife were not excited about. But and then I'll have a few days off and I'll go back again. So the schedule sounds really good when there's nothing going on and you don't have to work. The 2 on 4 off schedule is awesome. But when it's chopped up and jumbled and you're here one day, you're gone when your kids wake up, it creates a level of, I think, uncertainty in your family.
Instability. You can't get into a rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love my job though. Love it. Don't love every portion of it, but I absolutely love my job. And part of me looks at other people that go to the same office every day and they clock in same time, they go home. That routine makes me nervous to think about that. And to think about how you would keep any sort of sanity or spice in your life.
I don't think guys like you and I can.
I don't think it's possible. I think there's a level of I need the chaos a little bit. I didn't grow up saying, hey, I want to be a firefighter. Never in my life did I ever think that.
Yeah, it took me by surprise when you said it.
Well, I just got some. I had another job lined up, and it fell through. And one of my buddies was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go get my EMT. You want to go?" I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I have really no other responsibilities, so I might as well. And then I liked it, and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna try the fire academy. You want to go?" I said, "Sure." Now looking back, I can't imagine doing anything else with my life, because I wanted to be an attorney, like some of the other, like my grandpa, and I wanted to go into law or banking. And I look back at it now, and I'm like, dude, no chance I would have survived that. I just need a different scene every day. I need more variety, and that's what the fire department does for people like me. I mean, yesterday we got a good workout. We ran a bunch of calls, but in between, good workout, lots of laughter at the table. Watch Sunday Night Football while we're eating dinner. Like it's a good time while you're there, and I can't imagine the alternative.
That's awesome.
Just like going and clocking in and then going home.
So, for those who don't know, you're Grass Valley, right?
No, my station's in Grass Valley. I work for Nevada County Fire.
Okay, but it's up there kind of in the hills.
Yeah.
Right, the foothills. Yeah, here, the foothill, that's very different life. You got outlaws, people living off the land, meth labs. I mean, your calls must be different than someone that's, say, in Roseville or something.
Oh, 100%.
What do you think is different about your position as a fireman based on location versus other people?
So it's wild up there, and it's not just based on the people, it's based on the construction, it's based on the history of that area. So, you have crazy 100, 200-year-old Victorian homes that who knows what they did in the walls and in the ceiling in, gold rush times. But I think the main difference between guys that would work in Roseville or a city is just probably the type of call and the duration of call. So these guys are probably running a lot more, from my friends that I have at different departments. They're running a lot more calls. A lot of it's homeless related, or just a quick something to somebody's house. For example, we've got a station in Nevada City, Station 84, where you could drive 25 minutes easily to get to the call. And this is not like 25 minutes on a lit road. This is like you're going down 3 dirt roads, and then the dispatch says, when
you hit the oak tree, turn left.
Exactly.
Only 45 degrees.
Exactly. And they're on the third trailer on the property, and it's 3 a.m, and you're like, okay, well, I know all these people have guns. I know all of them don't want to be surprised in the middle of the night,
and might not be sleeping.
It might not be sleeping.
Some chemical help.
It may have something going on, and that's not like a judgy point of view. That's just the reality of what's going on up there. And so there's a lot of positions that we get put in where, we'll walk into somebody's house, and as I'm walking in, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, if we get greeted with a gun, what's my radio traffic? How am I going to handle this? Where are the guys that are with me? How do we get out? We got dispatched to a guy, middle of the night, like 3 a.m, guy's having heart problems. Like, okay, sounds good. We get into this area that we don't go very often. So we're walking into the house, and this guy's just standing there naked with a butcher knife, just standing there, and basically it's just like
not funny,
tweaking hard, and I'm like, fuck, okay. So like it's 3 a.m, but all of a sudden you snap into reality of like, okay, well, this just turned from a heart problem to, some of us may be getting stabbed by a guy who's tweaking. So just like a quick pivot about, where are all my guys at in the room? How are we going to get this guy to calm down? We're using his family member to help him, to help us help him. It turns from a medical call to like, how are we going to intervene to get this safely to, de-escalate? Not everybody sees the fire department and goes, oh, thank God you're here. You blend in with the cops to them. It's all about, I don't want you on my property type of thing, especially if you're not the one who called 911, a family member called on your behalf.
Do you think that particular part of firemen being seen as a government entity and get the hell off my land type stuff is geographic? because of they're in the foothills like that and that's more of the clientele out there?
I don't want to take anything away from the cops. They get so much more hate than we do. And a lot of times I'll look at them and ask myself, or just say to myself, I would never be able to do that job.
I wouldn't be able to do either. I don't want
Because
to take anything from the firemen either. I just meant based on the area.
Yeah, I think it is. I think we do get lumped into with them because when they show up, we work pretty well as a team, and we all know who's on what side and who's playing against who at that moment, and so there is like a natural bonding that happens when the cops show up, and you're like, all right, now we're good.
What's some of the positive? Like, what things have you seen that have been like, okay, that was worth it, like, or that changed my view on people, or wow, this, or changed my view on spirituality, or man, I saw a miracle today, I can't explain that. What's the first one that comes to mind on like a good story that keeps you going when times?
We helped someone give birth on their like kitchen floor. That was cool to be a part of that.
Super cool.
Yeah, just to be a part of like new life and just to see that. But I think I take a lot of positives from little interactions, especially when you can tell. For example, we'll get a lot of people that call us just to talk because they have nothing else going on. So you'll go there with the idea that there's a medical, but it's really like an 85, 90-year-old lady that lost her husband and may be afraid of something going on. But really, as the conversation goes on, you can tell they just want to talk to somebody. I think it's the little things, just like making someone's day, being available for people when they need you, or, hey, this is happening to your kid. And I take the time to, or we take the time to really make sure like mom and dad know, hey, this is what's going on. Everything looks good. Because it's a scary, anytime you call 911, it's scary.
Super scary.
Yeah. And especially if it's the other way around, kids watching dad have a stroke, and all of a sudden I see my firefighter walk out with a stuffed animal and they're talking to the kid and all of a sudden you're like, okay, people are good after all.
Have you seen other stuff, graphic, not graphic, whatever, that science can't explain, where you're like, man, the human body is capable of far more than I thought?
Well, just the severity of injuries that we see on people. If you think about your worst injury and then think about like breaking multiple bones in your body or having your entire lower half like shattered at one time, but you're still able to be like, yeah, I'm here, I'm conscious and I'm not screaming. That's probably shock, but your body just kicks in, and your body's a crazy thing. To see some of these injuries and to see how shock can basically calm you down. Obviously it's not a great thing, but like how it can bring you from being hysterical to just into preservation mode, and your body just starts sensing something's wrong, and then it starts trying to heal itself. It's wild to see that.
Wow. Maybe when the first time a new guy sees something like that, or when you're out with your team and you see a particularly heinous scene, when you get back to the station and things are calmed down, you're showered or whatever, do you guys like talk about that, or do you just leave it and go back to hanging out and being yourselves and working out? And what is the vibe like after a tough call in the station?
As a captain, if I see something happen that may bring one of the new guys into a weird place, we have resources for that. We have critical incident stress debriefings. If the call's bad enough, we'll get a couple engines together, we'll talk about it. And it'll be an open forum, and that's one way that we do it. But a lot of times it's just monitoring your guys throughout the day and just being like, I can tell when something's not normal with them. We spend a lot of time together, and so we know all about each other's families, what makes us tick, what pisses us off, and so if I can tell a dude's like just being quiet, I'm going to say something, because I don't want it to fester for him. And especially knowing what we know about each other, like the brain is a crazy place to be. And if you don't get that stuff out and you don't know you have resources, it always gets worse and never better. So luckily everybody's talking about mental health now, and it's kind of a cool transition to see everybody really has each other's back in the sense that guys are looking out for each other. So here's the thing. I always wonder if at some point in my life, it's going to come back and get me, the things that I've seen or the situations that I've been in. And my first reaction is always no, because it's like, I know how to deal with those things. You can go to meetings, you can go talk to other people that have been in your situation. But there's always that part of me that's like, is this going to come back and get me at some point? It's like with soldiers that have PTSD, not saying that they're the same. I'm just saying, they don't know until it's too late a lot of times. And so you see what you see, and everybody's brain processes it differently. And you can't take control of that processing until you stop it and expose it. And then after that, it's up to the person and their resources to deal with it the way that they see fit. I mean, I remember a call specifically that it was me and another guy who we were partners together for a little while and worked great together. We decided that night we were going to stay up late to watch a movie. Fucking worst decision I ever made in my life, because
Call came in
like 15 minutes after I fell asleep. Residential structure fire, multiple reports of people trapped in the middle unit. We get there, and I still have the thing on video of us showing up. So 4 minutes later, I'm driving an engine, spotting it.
Wow, is that how quick it is? The alarm goes off and you can be in, ready to rock?
Yeah, we went back to and saw the times. It was from time of dispatch to first water was 4 minutes. And so, like, obviously that's from a dead sleep to, I pulled up, I drove there in the middle of the night in a 50 to 60,000 pound machine. Obviously the adrenaline's huge. Captain's got to make a call, because at the time I was just driving. Captain's got to make a call about where we're spotting. There's an entire apartment complex basically on fire, and there's one unit right down the middle that looks like, absolute just death inferno coming out of it. And you're like, all right, well, we got to make a call based on life probability. And so we made a call based on the scenario that we had, but it just changes so fast. So to go back to your original question, like, you can't really prep people for everything. You can prep them for some stuff, but
has the job not affected, but shaped or changed your spiritual beliefs in any way?
I think so. There was a moment where I kind of lost my faith in people.
Sure.
And so that affected the way that I thought spiritually, but also just the way I reacted to people in general.
In what way?
Well, I think you see it mainly with the cops, but it happens to us to a lesser degree. You don't have time for people's bullshit anymore.
Yeah.
You just get tired of people's just bullshit. You just have no more patience for people. And so you can't be like spiritually fit when you're thinking that way or when you're reacting to people that way. So it has affected my ability to I wouldn't want to say be calm, but like, I don't put up with the same level of things that I used to.
That seems natural.
Yeah.
And there could be a positive to that, right?
That's
like
true.
Problems in your own life or other people's life, like, hey, you're going to be okay, or
Yeah.
hey, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, that's true. There's always that positive that can come out of it too. But yeah, I would say there's been moments that have affected the spirituality and kind of my lost faith in humanity when you're seeing certain things. But then there's also moments on the flip side where you see stuff and you're like, that's pretty cool that I get to be a part of that. That whatever small piece of that person's life was, where I really was able to positively affect them in the 20-minute.
That's super cool.
Yeah. So there's always the flip side to that, where it's some cool shit you get to do.
Is the captain responsible for creating the culture? And because I'm actually very pleased to hear that it's okay to talk about when you're mentally struggling after a hard call or just any time. Do you think that your ability to connect with strangers has added to your ability to create that culture?
When I got promoted to captain, there were some things I had to stop doing. One of them was complaining in front of a group of people. That kind of bullshit doesn't fly anymore, because now I have to complain the right direction now. So I can only really complain to my battalion chief. I can't complain down anymore. It's just not the right example. I have to pretend that I'm happy at times when, even though I'm not happy, because I see what it's going to do to the crew in that moment. And it's, once again, just more about setting an example and being a leader. But I feel responsible for my guys' happiness when they're at work, and obviously their safety when they're at work. I take that seriously.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, no
I
problem,
think,
dude.
That's a wrap. I appreciate you being the first.
Sweet.
First
dude,
of many.
I'm excited.
This was great.
Yeah, I'm excited. So thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.